You know, in light of Father's Day, I wanted to write a sermon all about being a dad, with sage advice and wisdom to share. Then I realized I've only been a dad for the last 10 years, and most people here have been doing that a lot longer than me. So I can't really give much advice to them. So I thought long and hard on what to talk about today. I thought about all of the challenges facing us today, with all the demands on us that we get overwhelmed with, but I kept thinking it's Father's Day. I'd be remiss if I didn't do something about it or say something about it. So finally I realized what to talk about: raising Christian children. Now, this may seem obvious to some people, how to raise Christian children, but it's not as easy as it may seem. There are many challenges involved in it. So I thought I would hit the highlights, and with each of them have a corresponding verse to start it off with. So, my first verse is Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Now, this seems odd to tie into children a little bit, but I'll work my way around to that. First of all, there are obstacles facing Christianity today. It's not as popular as it used to be. So when kids are no longer raised in church, and for a child that is, there's potential to be laughed at in school. This may seem petty to us, but to a child, being laughed at in school for being uncool is very hard. It's challenging. You can't really count on the teachers for much support because we've pulled God out of school. So the teachers can only get so involved in that one. But the teachers defend them for being bullied. I don't want to get in trouble with the teacher or the former teacher. But they can't get involved in the Christianity aspect. I'm right on that one, I'm hoping. So now there's not much you can do about teasing and the lack of God in school. It's hard. We can't really do much about that. But what you can do is teach your child to be resilient. So how do you do this? If your child is being picked on, think of this verse. The verse I just read. Teach your child to be strong. Now you don't have to teach them how to fight or anything, but raise them to be proud to be a Christian. Raise them to be strong so that when they face adversity, they can handle it. Because it's going to come at them no matter what. Eventually we all face adversity. And we have to be strong in our faith to be able to handle that adversity. Of course there'll be times when they're upset, but teach them that it's only temporary and they'll get over it. This to me is also a surefire way to help kids with any bullying of any sort. You teach them to be resilient and be strong. Have faith. Be courageous. God will give them the strength. The next verse is Titus 2:7. Show yourself in all respects to be a model of good works, and in your teaching show integrity and dignity. Set a good example. You can't take them to church on Sunday, but have them see you sinning throughout the week. It doesn't work. This only shows them that you're a hypocrite, and that is what they will compare all Christians to in the future. We've all heard it. I'm sure everybody's heard it as an excuse not to go to church. Well, people are only good Christians on Sunday. Do we all slip during the week? Certainly. We're not perfect. We aren't without sin. But you got to try. This means you just have to act like a Christian at all times. We'll stumble along the way, but try your best not to stumble in front of your kids. In our house, we do not swear. We just don't swear in front of the kids, okay? So it's just something we don't do. And while I do, I admit, I have an occasional beer. I don't drink to excess. I try to control my temper. Try to control your temper. Also a challenge when things are going wrong. Every now and then you get hurt, things go wrong, you start to get a little upset. Separate yourself from them so they don't see it. They don't need to see you in that mood. Don't hold a grudge, because you can't preach forgiveness and not be willing to forgive yourself. And lastly, do not gossip. This is a hard one because even when we leave church, we like to talk about what happened in church. Something may have irritated you or whatever. It happens, even all of us. I'm hoping we're all guilty of it, because otherwise I'm in trouble. But now and then you leave church and you talk about what happened. But don't forget, if you're a parent, there's little ears in the back seat hearing everything you say. And it will come up again at the most inopportune time. But that's not the only reason not to do it. You just shouldn't do it because it's not right. But they will repeat it. I know. Now, having said this, avoiding bad things isn't enough. You have to demonstrate the good things. Let them see you pray. Pray with them. We pray before every meal so they see us pray. So, let them hear you talk about God or see you reading the Bible. Set that example for them. Talk about God whenever you can. A lot of times kids don't understand God, especially why God lets bad things happen. They can't grasp that. We can't even grasp that. But you have to be willing to talk to them about it. If they see that you turn to the Lord for help and guidance, they'll learn from you and hopefully do the same when they need it. Encourage them to ask God for help, even on the petty things that we would never consider asking God for help. If you teach them early, say they have a test in school, or just having a rough day and they ask God for help, even the most minor of things, they're just upset about something. If they learn to ask God for help now, they'll keep that habit later on in life. Next verse is Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way that he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. You need to teach them about God. And this can be a hard one because reading the Bible to a 5-year-old is not always easy. I know. Even the kids' Bible sometimes can be a challenge, especially if you have a fidgety one like mine who hates to sit still. But there are other ways to teach. You can just ask questions about the Bible when it seems appropriate. You'll be amazed at what they've absorbed without you even knowing. I've been shocked many times by what my kids suddenly say out of the Bible. It kind of makes you proud that you know you're doing right, even if you don't think you are sometimes. To give an example, we had a meeting about a year ago with Katrin's teacher about her grades and some of the programs she's in to help her. The teacher told us that when asked about addition, Katrin remembered it because the plus sign looked like a cross. And when Jesus died on the cross, he went up into heaven. So adding made numbers go up. Ruthie and I were stunned. We were blown away. And the teacher wished she could teach this to all kids, but of course she couldn't. But we were just blown away that what we've been saying is sinking in. Because you never really know, and you just hope for the best and you try your hardest. But we were so happy that it was sinking in. The challenge is finding the innovative ways to teach it. You cannot rely solely on Sunday school teacher, but maybe you can ask one for advice. I've noticed Dory has an awesome job teaching Kaylee about the Bible. I'm always amazed at what Kaylee knows. And Kaylee knows her prayers, she knows her songs, and sometimes I'm a little envious, I won't deny, but don't tell my kids that. But ask somebody if you don't know how to teach your kids about the Bible. Because maybe it is a struggle for some of us. I have a hard time sometimes, but if somebody else knows, be willing to humble yourself and ask for help. Next one's Psalm 15:13. A glad heart makes a cheerful face, but by sorrow of heart the spirit is crushed. One of the most important things you can do with your kids is have fun and be involved in their lives. This can be hard with all the demands on our time. We work and then we get home and we're tired and just want to relax. Or on the weekends there are 101 things that need to be done around the house. You have to mow the lawn or stack firewood or fix things around the house that never seem to end. I'm sorry, did I get personal there? Whatever the case may be, trust me, I know, because it never seems like it ends. But sometimes you have to just decide that some things can wait and go spend time with your kids. Some things can just hold off. If the lawn gets a little long, who cares? Unless you got a homeowners association, they might care. But now, we often think of spending time with our kids as shuttling them to soccer or Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, but that's not enough. I sometimes think that people substitute these events for spending time with their kids. You see these kids who are enrolled in soccer, gymnastics, piano lessons, and a million other things. But that doesn't substitute for spending time with your kids. Go outside and play chase for a while. Go for a bike ride with them. Even play a video game if that's what it takes. There's always a way. There's ways to have fun with your kids. Just a million ways. And who doesn't enjoy a good game of hide and seek anyway, even if you're a grown-up? It's still fun. May not be able to fit in the small spaces they can fit in, but hey, it's still fun. The last thing your kids want to see is that Christians are a bunch of sticks in the mud, who do nothing but go to church and live boring lives. Who wants to do that? No kid's going to follow that example. No kid wants to grow up and be boring. We all want to be excited and have fun and be kids forever like Pastor Fran. The next verse is 1 Corinthians 13:13. So now faith, hope, and love abide these three, but the greatest of these is love. And I say the most important thing you can do for your kids for last. Show them that you love them. This is probably the hardest one to explain. How do you really show them you love them? Hugs and kisses aren't enough. Hugs and kisses are a physical display, but it's not enough. It seems ridiculous to say because we all love our kids, but how do we show it? Part of it is by what I said earlier about spending time with them and having fun with them. But it's also about disciplining them. You can't just let your kids run amok, of course, and it's definitely fun with some of our kids not letting them run amok. But you have to teach them right from wrong. Proverbs 13:24, whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. That doesn't mean whoop up on them. Sometimes the temptation is there, but it doesn't mean whoop up on them, make them go get a switch or anything and keep whooping up on them. I'm noticing the look here. I'm kind of wondering. But you don't do them any favors if you raise them without discipline. And you're not setting a good Christian example for your kids and others watching you. I mean, who wants to see that one kid, or the parents who go to church every Sunday, but their kid is just running amok? That's not a good example for other people who are considering going to church either. They don't want to be there. That's not me. That's not what I want to be. It's that one parent who can't take their kid to Walmart without zip strips and handcuffs. So, although sometimes it feels like it. But parenting is no easy task. We always say that there's no instruction manual for kids. But we have an instruction manual for life, and it's called the Bible. So while it may not have every answer for every situation we encounter with our kids, we find the general guidelines. It's kind of like the instruction book. It just gives you the highlights, what you need to know. When we have children, we have to be willing to sacrifice a lot. A lot. We give up on our hobbies. We give up on our freedoms. Most of us who have young kids haven't been to a movie in a long time. People are at work talking about, have you been to the latest movie? Are you kidding me? I have a 5-year-old. You want me to sit in a theater? They don't want you there either. But you have to sacrifice these things. Even something as simple, like I said, as going to the movies. If they're too young, you can't find a babysitter. Or you just got to run to the store, and that task of just getting them dressed to get them out the door, especially when that store is boring. That's the one I hear all the time. Lowe's and Home Depot are boring. Not for me. Not for Fran, not for half the guys in here, but for the kids, they're boring. So we all face these challenges. But I think we all want what's best for our children. And while I'm no subject matter expert, because I've only got a few years' experience, if we all walk away with these simple lessons, I think we'll be off to a great start. I think if we just look at these few little lessons in the Bible and try to take those instructions and walk with them and continue on, will we make mistakes with our kids? Certainly. We all make mistakes, especially the first one. That's the guinea pig. That one you find out all the lessons you shouldn't have done, and the second one gets a little better in that sense. Oh, we got finger pointing out there even. Wow. Do we have some guinea pigs in the room? I'm number 3, so I don't know. My parents had it down by the time I was born. So... What's that? See, you were the guinea pig. See, number 2 and 3, and you stare at them and go, oh, you had it so easy. I know, because I hear it. But we all have to learn from our mistakes, and we all have to try just to do our best. That's all anybody can ask. Like I said, we won't be perfect, but we have to try our hardest. So, on that note, I just want to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And you know what? To all the single moms pulling double duty. Happy Father's Day to you too, or Mom's Day again, or however you feel comfortable hearing it. And for those parents out there, coming from another parent, good luck. Thank you. Gotcha.